Welcome everybody, and everybody knows that song, and if you don't, you're going to know it by the end of tonight. It's a theme from the Three Stooges. We have a very special guest tonight, and we're going to learn a lot. Once again, we're going to educate, we're going to entertain, and show you how to really make the most amount of money every time. What's up there, DJ? How's everybody doing tonight on this crazy Wednesday? I am box breaking, wax tearing, cello ripping, pack fresh card pulling, pack manian devil. We promised you last night a special show. We have a special guest, and it's going to be an epic show. But first, speaking of epic, in case you missed it, last night we did sell out our equity pack. It is a 1967 top cello pack with Ed Matthews on top. It's a second series. We sold 24 shares, which means every shareholder gets a 4.166% gross proceeds of the pack. And we're trying to pull none other than Mickey Mantle, that in a PSA 10 is worth an estimated ballpark, Mick, $68,000. Carlton's in here, Stargell, a lot of great cards. We're opening this tomorrow on our special edition Thursday happy hour / equity pack / game 6 of the Warriors and the Raptors. This will be tomorrow, and we're also going to dividend and open up a 1961 new card scoop pack for one lucky winner in the equity pack. Everyone has been accruing dividends. This went pretty fast. It's going to be phenomenal. That's going to be fun tomorrow night. Don't miss it. And don't miss tonight after the show. We'll be done by then, hopefully. The Stanley Cup Game 7. Like I said, whether you're a hockey fan or not, whether you don't know what a Bruin or a Blue is, watch Game 7 tonight. It's the NHL. And we're going to randomize this and give this away to one of our lucky card holders in the 1979 O-Pee-Chee wax pack, which could have Wayne Gretzky and a 10 worth over $400,000. That's going to be fun. We have 2 shares left. If we sell it out before tomorrow night, that'll be our preliminary. And what a preliminary, to have a chance for somebody to win $400,000. And to make things even better, we launched last night 2 very special promos. The first one is buy any share in our equity pack, and one sold out already, and we have a couple more up there. We're working on another one to be up there as well. Buy any share in our equity pack, and the first 10 spots, the first 10 people, we're going to randomize, and you will have a chance to win this PSA 8 1959 Mantle Hits the 42nd Homer for the Crown baseball card. It's like a little cartoon. Why this isn't worth more, I don't know. It's just a great shot of the Mick. The ball's right there. You can see the ball coming in. The umpire's locked in, the catcher. You got some banners. It's got a nice newspaper article on the back. One lucky winner will win this tomorrow. So we're guaranteed someone's getting the Mickey Mantle card tomorrow. Hopefully there's another one in the pack on top of that. And not only, and you got a 10% chance. And second place is going to get 2,000 points, and show, if you're a horse racing guy, 1,000 points. Only 10 entries. I think we have how many left? 5 or 6 left. So it's going to go. It's going to go. So if you want an equity pack or you were thinking about it, you might as well do it now to get a chance to win this Mick card or a couple thousand points to help reduce your cost. That's going to be fun. Our second promo, oh boy, I'm telling you, this is going to be a big one indeed. Let me see here. Yes, if you smell lucky, the Money in the Bank promotion, which we're giving out. Again, only 10 spots, not 30 or 50, 100, 10. Only 10. Better chance to win. You have a 10% chance if you spend $175 or more anywhere on the site except the equity pack, because that's reserved for the Mick. $175 or more, you'll be put in the first 10 spots. One lucky winner will win the money in the bank. Hey, Dave, how you doing? I'm reading the chat room. That will be a fun pack there, DJ. But if you do buy any spot 175 or more, you will get one entry. And we're doing 10. I think there's like 7 or 8 left. It's going to go fast. We just introduced it last night. We're promoting it again today. And emails are going out as well. So if you're watching live now, scoop it up while you can. And back to what's in here. 175 or more. One lucky person will win. Right here. Bank. What that means is there's a contract in here. And we're going to sign this up. And you will get one lucky winner. Sit down and get ready for it. A free card of any listing on the store. Any listing. So we have them from 25 up to 250. I would say go for the 250 one because that's where the max value is. But maybe you like one at 200 or 150. Do whatever you like. You get one free card on our site, excluding the equity pack. And that's going to be great. Second prize, so if you don't win first, you got another chance to win 26 picture cards, 1985 Pro Wrestling Stars. You get the whole thing. We'll open it for you, just in case it's a Hogan, which we can grade, which, by the way, I think there's a Hogan sticker on the back. They'll let the cat out of the bag. We'll open this for you if you finish in second place. And it doesn't say it on our website, but third place, just for the hell of it, you get a free pack. We'll open up that. We did 5 packs last night. I think we got 2 or 3 Hogans again. It's just like the Hogan Center here. So, 175 or more, this stays locked up. Got to make sure it stays locked so no one takes the contract. Money in the bank, make a purchase, and you can virtually spend 175 or more. And if you win, you're going to get another entry of whatever you want. So it's almost like buy one get one free, and that's going to be phenomenal. Okay, well, we have a little preemptive programming. We're going to have a special happy hour tomorrow. We got some packs to open tomorrow. We have the equity pack. I think we have a 75. We're going to preempt that all to tomorrow because tonight we like to welcome a special guest. He's known as the Stooge King. He's known as the Stooge Guru. And basically, this is the closest you'll get to really knowing the Three Stooges. And he's going to show all his sets. He's going to give us some stories, what he owns. He knows Mo's grandson and it's just like a whole family tree. This guy knows it. If you don't know him by name, his name is Richard Cohen. He's got the top 25 sets, 28 of the 29 sets, 29. There's so many we can't even keep track in the PSA registry. It's unbelievable. He's got the best #1 set from 2009 up to current, like the last 10 years, only missing 4 cards in a PSA 10. 5 cards in a PSA 10. It's unbelievable. And they don't, they're hard. Here's the problem. They're hard to find. They may be in somebody's shoebox. They may be in a 5 and dime store somewhere out in the Rust Belt. But what we're going to do is give everybody a chance. We just listed tonight. And yeah, move the antenna around, put some aluminum foil on it. Because this is indeed a 1959 Fleer The Three Stooges wax pack, PSA 7. The first and one of the rarest PSA graded packs, encapsulated in there with 6 beautiful cards. And again, the 7s, I'll say it again, is basically the pack, the color of the wrapper, the back, how it's sealed and is it crooked or not. Has nothing to do with the cards. So in there could be some very valuable cards. We just listed it. A curly 10, I'm estimating worth $60,000 or more. And I'm going to probably say or more because it's the only one. Doesn't exist. A curly, a Larry 9's probably worth about $25,000. I'm sorry, a Larry 10. A Mo 10's probably worth just the same, about $25,000. They don't exist. So I can't even put a price on it. It'll probably start there, and that's what it works out. A 9 of curly probably goes for about $30,000. He was the one card, wasn't really kept in good shape once somebody pulled the card out of the pack. Very tough. An 8 curly worth $5,000. A 9 of Mo Larry worth $8,000. There's only 96 cards in the set. We got 6 of them here. About 40 of them and a 10 are worth 1,000 to 2,000. And that could be higher on depending upon the population. And there's no population 10 for 1, 2, 3, number 5, and the last card, 96. Super high premium. We are the only website ripper, breaker, whatever you want to call it in this day and age, that has this pack. And I told everybody last night, if you can find another a PSA pack, just like looks like this, graded, you're going to get 10,000 points by the time we open this up. And it could sell out fast. It may not. We just posted it today. Hasn't even been publicized yet. I hope it takes a while to sell out because I just love it on our storefront. It's just a beautiful, beautiful pack, and we're very proud to have it on there. And if you feel lucky and you get a curly, it's going to work. It's going to work out right. I was George Hibbs. I was a rookie. 350. Oh, that's pretty fun. That's pretty wild. Let's get ripped. Oh, when we rip this, it could be virtually just like an equity pack. It's our highest pack out there. You can't even put a price on these packs. Priceless. Priceless, priceless. So with that, and with that intro, I'm going to bring on right now the Stooge King, the Stooge Guru, and let me just give him a little Mr. Richard Cohen. There he is. Come on in, Richard. Oh, and while Richard's wheeling his way in here, any purchase tonight, all purchases are non-sport only, 3 times the points. Batman, Superman, 1966, Three Stooges, Civil War we have up there, 3 times the points till midnight. And any purchase $25 or more, until I run out, there's 85, 89, and some 24-point collection cards that I'm giving out to any purchase of 25 or more. We'll get one. If you have a preference, great. If not, we'll send you one. They're all great, 25 or more. Speaking of Richard Parks, he just tuned in. Very excited. Hello, Richard. Richard, say hello to Richard.
How are you?
He's another Stooge guy out there. We're going to talk about his cards tonight. And again, this guy right here, if you can put Mo, Larry, and Curly and put them all together in one person, it's right here. Richard, it's an honor and pleasure to have you on the show. And you're here also like me to educate, entertain, and show everybody how to make some money. So what we're going to do is start with the latest set. We're going to go early and work back, and you're going to and archive this video and watch it again. We're going to show you some cards that are museum worthy. He's got the only 9 Curly from 1959. There's only one. He's got it. He's got all the sets. He brought some with him tonight. We got extra security. Richard, the floor is yours. I think we're going to start with Richard Parks, who just tuned in. He's a very big Stooge guy. He makes more modern cards. He takes the old cards and makes them modern. And Richard will talk about that now with the 2016, I believe, Richard?
Richard Parks, wonderful guy. He has printer's ink in his veins. And he has no fewer than 8 different series of Three Stooges cards that I believe he started in 2014, and each set has, well, as many as 400 cards in the set, and there's subsets, and when you try and get them graded, it's really insane. Let's just say it's taken, at least a year of my life cumulatively just to go through his cards. But so what we're going to do now is, first let me say, I do not know the most about the Three Stooges. I do know the most about the Three Stooges cards. So I don't want to take that away from my other friends that have spent their life really studying and loving the Stooges. So first we're going to start with R.R. Parks cards, Richard Parks. So we're going from the most recent all the way until the end. I should say the beginning, 1959. Although the Stooges were on an earlier one card from ABC Players card, which a few exist. You'll see them on eBay or other places. Okay, the card you're looking at now, if you look at it carefully, you see it says 1959 reissue. And what Richard Parks did was he took all of the 1959 cards and he reissued them. But what he did was he incorporated both colors of certain cards. You see, there are white back cards and cream back cards. And depending upon what the paper was used, the ink color is different. So, to give you an example, we have the Mo card number 2. This is a Mo with a tan background.
The beige back, yeah.
The
The
beige
beige back,
background.
okay. And then we have one with the green back.
And the green back. Now, the original series didn't have that, but when Richard started researching and I started working on it as well, we found out there were probably around 30 or 40, Richard, you'll have to correct me, color variations. Some are very slight, some are...
He did a really good job. I mean, outside of that, in replicating him.
He did a really good job. Yes, and I tell you, sometimes it can get a little confusing, but you know.
Does he sell them online? I
Yes,
guess. Yeah, I've seen him.
Richard does, I believe, sell them online. Although I has finally, at my begging, stopped making any more Three Stooges cards. Although there may be a few single cards.
He just typed in 39 color variations.
Sorry, 39
Oh,
color
boy.
variations. Sorry, Richard. Okay, so we're going to start with Richard's cards. And so you know, these are basically the copies of the 59 cards with the color variations. Also, you need to know that there are 96 cards in the basic set. The master set has 3 cards in it that are checklist cards. They're card number 16, card number 63, and card number 64. Now, those cards were never in any of the wax packs. You would have to write into Fleer originally in 1959 to get those cards. And they were very sought after, they're very costly.
So there's no checklists in
No,
this
there are
59.
no-
you had to write in, which makes them even more rare.
You had to write in to get them.
Yeah, because I didn't put that in the listing. The checklists are very unique and very hard to come by.
We're going to get to that at the end.
At the end, okay.
So we have an example. And I'm going to show you, I guess we'll show both at the same time. This is Richard's 9, that's a 9 of his card. And I'm going to put it up next to the original, only 1959 PSA 9 card. So Charlie, you hold them together.
Got to hold this one with me with 2. I need 3 hands because right here, everybody, you can see the Twilight Collection. This is the only 59 Three Stooges curly in a mint 9. There's no 10s, and he's got the only one. And I'm actually shaking a little. It's not the camera or your phone or TV or where you're streaming. This is a beautiful card right here, and you can see Richard Parks. I'll put his other card next to it, and PSA labels it that it's a reissue, and almost identical, right? The same picture,
Little color variation.
little color variation.
There's a little bit of focus difference, but other than that,
The
it's
back-
very close.
The original has a crown, and the reissue has a little bubble.
So that's one way to tell them apart, and it's very important,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the bottom lines on the back, which are different.
Yeah, this is the little
Otherwise, they're
copyright
pretty
button.
identical.
Wow.
And you'll get the chance to see some of the checklists towards the end.
Okay, and then we
So-
showed his 10,
Okay.
his 2 variations of the 10, which was a beige back and green back. One's a gem mint 10, one's a 9. These were issued in 2016, so it could be pretty easy. You'd think it could get easy to get a 10, but still, they have to be perfect.
They don't
right?
exist yet.
Wow.
Do not exist.
And his 9. Okay.
Okay. So I brought a number of things to show you.
What else we got over there in the
First of
bag of
all,
tricks?
Richard Parks also sells many different other cards, other sets. He did Sharknado. He did a whole bunch of other cards. But anyway, for special events, he has printed out a block of cards on the front. You'll see on the front, and on the back, you'll see what the event was. So here's one there. That was for an event of a convention that I worked on in 2016. That's one of them. And this is the other. And basically there were giveaway cards.
The three Curlys that pursued the original Curly.
Now, what you really need to know, if you're a real neophyte, is that there were 6 Stooges. 6. Most people don't know that. Most people also don't know that Shemp, Curly, and Moe were all real-life brothers.
Howard?
Howard,
yep.
Yes, the Howards. When they first started their careers, Shemp came before Curly, and that was a few years in the late 20s,
yeah.
and early 30s. And then in 1934, as we all know, they signed.
That was Ted.
Signed with Columbia Pictures.
Columbia Pictures, yeah.
What you also might know is the Three Stooges were really founded by a man named Ted Healy.
Ted Healy.
And Ted Healy had a very interesting life. Unfortunately, had a very premature death. But by that time, the Stooges had gone out on their own. Okay, so just so you know, the order in which it happened was the Stooges were Shemp, Moe, and Larry. Then it became Curly, Larry, and Moe. Then it became, again, Shemp, Larry, and Moe. And then, after Shemp passed away, there was a vacuum of about a year when the shorts were for Columbia were being made with a stunt double. And then Joe Besser came along, and he became the next Stooge.
He was on a couple Abbott and Costello episodes.
Yes, he's very well known for many things. But they had their issues, and ultimately Joe Besser's wife was rather ill, and so he bowed out. There are numerous reasons why, but we'll leave it at that one. Then after that came Curly Joe Dorita, or Joe Dorita. And Joe Dorita was a short, also a short subject star for Columbia. I think from other studios as well. So he came on, and he was the first one to go into the first Three Stooges motion picture. Previous to that, they'd all been shorts. So all the Stooges, the films the Stooges made, had Joe Dorita as the third Stooge, and there he is with a bowler hat right there.
Like the hats we're wearing.
Like the hat we're wearing.
Trying to make it seem like more as original as possible.
Right. Okay, so Richard's done a number of things like that.
And these were 2016, so we're going to go back into time, just like we do here at Just Rip It with our packs. We're going to go back now from 2016 to...
Okay, now we're going to go back to the next set, which is called Bragent Marketing. Bragent Marketing is a company that issued an original set of cards. I can't recall the amount of them, but that's the first one, and that's a perfect 10. And those are not hard to get 10s in. They're very well made cards. They're very durable, very easy. The difference is that this card set by Bragent, there were a number of subsets. And then there were portrait cards, artist cards. So basically and there were cards with pieces of Larry's tie, pieces of Joe Dorita's underwear.
Like relic cards?
Relic cards.
Oh, that's great.
Cards. So you try and you get all those, and it takes you a long time. And
this, I see this is the Woman Haters. That was their
that's
first
The Woman Haters
episode
was
ever.
the first short
Musical.
that the Stooges, it was a musical. The first short they actually did for Columbia Pictures. And it was, actually it's my favorite, although many people would disagree with that. Then, of course, came Punch Drunks, which was the only short that the Stooges actually wrote themselves.
Oh, they actually wrote that one?
They wrote that one, yes. And I believe Moe's wife, Helen, helped with that as well.
Really? Wow.
Yes. And Moe and his wife had a wonderful life. They had wonderful children and grandchildren, and it was a very very happy marriage from all accounts that I know.
And I heard Curly was more the womanizer, the drinker,
Curly,
the party animal back in the day.
Now remember, I am the expert in the cards, and I know a lot about the other things, but I'm not the expert. The expert has a museum dedicated to the Three Stooges called the Stoogeum, which is outside of Philadelphia, and he has dedicated a great deal of his life to it, and he's created a magnificent museum. And his name is Gary Lassen, and he is a wonderful person and a pleasure, and I've known him for 31 years already, so that's a long time. Okay, so let's move on.
That was 2005. Now we're going
2005.
to move on to 97. Oh, we're getting into the 90s
the
now.
next one, the fewer people know about, is something called the Duo card. And the Duo cards are by far the hardest cards to get good grades on than any of the other cards. And the reason is that the coating on the cards does not stand the test of time. In other words, if you send a card in now to get graded, the coating will have deteriorated, so you won't get better than an 8, maybe you'll get a 9, you certainly won't get a 10. In fact, it's
And this is a 1 card with a mint 9, so
it's
that
a
they
mint
had
9.
all because of the coating.
But the coating, pretty much, I think that's it. And there were some off-center issues as well. But it's a beautiful card. There are a lot of inaccuracies in the verbiage on the back, but still very interesting cards. Then they also had a set of 6 cards that were known as send-away cards, and they're very hard to find, but not expensive. And didn't bring those with me, but again, I didn't even know if they even existed. So
And that was 97. Okay, interesting set. I didn't know they even made a 97 dual card. That's pretty wild. So we're learning a little bit there.
And then there were the 6.
We have Tim Swales saying hello.
Hi, Tim.
Tim's out there saying hello.
Tim,
Matt Engel, love the Three Stooges. A lot of people love them. There's so much content on the TVs today that it's so tough to. I think MeTV showing them every night.
MeTV has started a new issue of a new run of the shorts, which is great because things were lagging for a little bit, and now they're back again.
Yeah, you got to watch them with your kids. You got to watch them with your father. You got to just watch them because they're funny. They're funny, and the women hate them, so they get to leave the room. Your wife, your girlfriend, they all see the Stooges. They put their hands up, they run out, and then you got the whole place to yourself. You get your beer, sit in your recliner, and watch and laugh. And they made these shorts during the Depression when the country was in its most depressed state.
Yes,
and they helped everybody laugh, and that's what we have to love about them.
The early shorts were the most popular, and basically they made fun of the upper classes.
Yeah.
And so people loved that. Then things changed, and times changed.
A lot against the war, also World War.
Against the war, yes. Moe's favorite short that he made was "You Nazi Spy," which was a parody of Hitler and Mussolini, and it was made previous to the Great Dictator. So before Charlie Chaplin. So most people don't know that.
Great episodes, just great. So you learn a little history about everything too. What they just did the whole mock on it.
Okay.
So we're moving now to where 1989.
89.
These are the packs that we have that we're giving away for any purchase tonight, and these are from there. This is a 89 FTCC red back of Curly with some hair. It's got the red back, which is very, very unique, right? More.
Well, there are red backs and blue backs.
Red back and blue backs.
And
it says right there, red back on there.
Blue back. And it took me quite a number of years to get to a perfect set, but I did, in the red and in the blue. Again, not costly cards, but it's
cost to try to find pens.
Of course, well, you have to submit them. I submitted them. And I remember sometime it took 10, 15 submissions of different ones before I'd get the 10, but ultimately I got the whole set in a 10.
A nice full head of hair he's got there at that point.
Curly.
Did he ever grow it out long?
Curly did have wonderful hair. In fact, he had a great head of hair. And that can be seen in really only one short that I know of, Hold That Lion, which also had Shemp. And there's one scene where Curly is sitting in a train car snoring, and you can see his full head of hair there. And then you see Moe, Larry, and Shemp behind him. but I think Walker really does a snore.
And speaking of head of hair, I mean, I don't know if Larry had a little wind that day or didn't have a comb
that
or.
was Larry. Larry was always wild. I was quite friendly with his sister, as one of my peers were. Larry's sister was 20 years younger, so I got to know her and her husband very well.
And she never appeared in any of his shorts? Or
no,
none of the family members did?
I don't know. I know that Joan, Mo's daughter, did appear in a few of the early shorts.
And this is the 85 and 89 set. Yeah, and those are the packs these were the packs looked like back then, the 85 and 89. They came in plastic, and you know.
The back of the 85.
Oh, the back of the 85 has a little trivia question, and the question was, what was Larry Fine's real name? And the answer was
Louis Feinberg.
Louis Feinberg, yep. Okay. And I guess he just went with Fine. Okay, so now we're in the 80s, 85 and 89.
85, 89.
And what do we have over there?
Now we have to go to 1966.
1966, the black and white version.
The most famous one, I suppose, that of the two series, the second famous one.
We have that pack on our website. We've opened a couple in the past.
Yes,
and this is the hardest card, as I always say. It's the one card.
This is the number one
to get in
card.
a 10.
It's a 10.
And if anybody has any at home ungraded, this is what a 10 looks like. It's the top card. And again, Pack Fresh gives you the best opportunity to get a number one card in a 10. The back just has some bricks.
I'll explain what the back is.
All right.
If you take that whole series of cards and you turn them over, they form a color photograph of Adam West as a cowboy.
Batman?
Yes, Batman.
Batman,
right.
wow.
In The Outlaws Is Coming, which was the last film that the Three Stooges made that really was for general release. After that came something called Cook's Tour, but it was not really widely.
Adam West was we have a 66 Batman wax pack in cello, and he was a great guy, but I remember last time I heard he was very offended he wasn't picked to be Batman back when George Clooney was Batman, like the first movie.
He passed away, I think, about a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago.
And I met him about 3 or 4 times for these kind of events.
Just think you met Batman.
Yes, I met Batman.
He must have some memorabilia.
My most famous story about Adam West
what is
in a convention that was held in 1991. My brother was there in Lewiston, Maine, which we raised $40,000 for the American Cancer Society. I can remember sitting at the table and Adam West stabbing his picture of Batman with a fork.
Oh,
something
boy.
you really had to see to believe.
Imagine his memorabilia. He has a bat belt. He probably has the bat wings. I wonder if he has a lot of that stuff that they made very popular back in the day. But this is a fine, beautiful card of all Three Stooges. It's card number one in a set. I don't know how many 10s there are. A lot of 10s?
3. I think
there's only 3 of them.
I think there are 3.
And you have 1?
Probably 3.
He has all 3 10s.
I think.
If you find one, it's like having a population one because he's not going to let it go. And it's just a beautiful card. And the puzzle back, now we know it's Adam West. Now we can figure that out. If you collect all 66 cards, all 66?
All 66 and turn them over.
Wow, that's a big puzzle. That really is. That's phenomenal.
66, you're right.
Okay, I'm here with Richard Cohen. We call him the Stooge Guru, the Stooge King.
Card Guru.
Card Guru, but he does know the Stooges in the form of the card. Like again, we just listed this 1959. I'm trying to get it's a little glary. A 1959 Three Stooges wax pack PSA graded 7. It's the first PSA card. What was Stooge pack I've seen. Richard has a couple of them. I have 2 also. I'm not selling them. He's not selling. This may be the only pack, unless there's a rare find out in Kentucky somewhere or in the attic of the Fleer factory, because he checked with all the Stooges' grandchildren. They don't have any. I think Mo has an auction coming up at the end of the month. They have the 66, but these are more rare, and it breaks my heart to have to really open it. I just got word we already sold a share. We're down to 5 already. To everybody, take it easy. We want this up there. It's like our site's like a museum. We want to keep showing the packs. There's 6 available. We're down to 5. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful up there. Don't mind the indentation. It's not. It's just the wax pack is there. The cards are nestled in there beautifully. It's just a great wrapper. It's a great pack. We're down to 5 already. Hopefully it stays up there a couple of weeks or so. If it doesn't, we can understand that people are looking for 10s in this pack, and it'll be really a beautiful thing. We just got word Donnie Shockey just has put an order in. And Richard, I don't know if there's a 10 in here, but we're going to give him one of these packs with his purchase. We'll give him a 1985 pack right there.
There you go.
Now, there could be a 10 in there now.
It could be a 10.
All right. That's what makes sure everybody knows that it could be out there. That's pretty wild. But this is the 66 card. They were done in black and white. A lot of people preferred, even though the 59 was color, a lot of people liked the black and white feature. They didn't like them in color, but I guess it's everyone's preference. They have colorized versions also. But here we are at justripit.com with Richard Cohen. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If a lot of your friends like the Three Stooges and can't watch us live tonight, follow us on YouTube where all our videos are archived. And if there's a lot of Stooge fans out there, they are. And this is a great education process on the cards. Even though Richard told me he has Larry's violin. Remember the Stradivarius?
That's correct.
He's got it. It's crazy. The actual real violin. Is it?
I have his violin. I have his pinky ring. I have his bracelet.
Oh, what else? And what else?
I started really before I collected the paper, the one sheets, and the lobby cards.
Oh boy!
I purchased personal effects of them. So that would be started in 1988. And just one last thing about me is that I never watched the Three Stooges as a child.
Oh,
never.
Wow.
It was only when my own sons started watching them in the late 80s. Of course, my oldest son now is, I think he's 38. Yeah, he's 38.
I watch them. My father watched them. I watch them. My kids watch them, and their kids' kids are going to watch them because when I go over their house, and when I'm a grandpa, I'm going to make sure they put it on so my grandchildren can watch it because they're always going to be funny. It's timeless. One thing I didn't like, they tried to make movies about them, and they just botched it up. They just
tell you all about that. They did make one film, which was okay, but there were a lot of issues with it. And when I held the convention in 2016 outside of Philadelphia, I brought two of the stars from the film in, Chris Demopoulos and Will Sasso, and so that was fun. And at that convention, brought together all the largest grouping of Three Stooges relatives, children, grandchildren.
Is it a big family?
That have ever been photographed before. Yes, there's the Howard family, which is the most of it, and then there is the Fine family. And basically, we had our conventions until I think 1996. At least I started going in 1988. The first one was in 1987. And then on one fateful day, my wife said to me, and I quote, "I know I'm going to regret this, but they have an annual convention." And, well, yes, she sure did regret it. But that was a few lives ago anyway. So, okay.
Okay, now we're going to get into the cream of the crop. That's the cards that are possibly in this pack. We have here, we showed it earlier, a Curly Mint 9, only one.
Only one.
I don't know, like, is there a monetary value? We would think, we said on our site, a 9's worth about $30,000. Is that safe in a 9?
I would say that would be safe. Of course, if there's you'd have to be a lunatic like myself. But I've had that card for over 10 years.
10 years ago this came
over
about.
10 years.
And was it via auction or did you?
Well, actually, I bid on it on eBay. I lost out by $10 because I had just started.
$10?
That's right, $10. Of course, it didn't have that kind of value. And it took me 3 years to find out who got it.
3 years?
3 years. And then he was very skittish. And when I went to finally make the deal with him, I had to drive out to Pennsylvania from New York. I'm from New York. And when I got to the house, it was the exact duplicate of the house in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And so I go in.
Oh, the guy that won the auction.
Yes.
was living
in a house with
the
his
house
with
where
his
the,
mother.
where they had the Psycho
No,
movie.
no. That looked just like.
Oh, that looked like the Psycho
like,
movie. Oh my
like,
God.
like the house in the Psycho movie. Not only that, I went in, his mother was playing the organ, and it was just downright creepy. But so.
Did they know it was the Psycho house?
No,
or
they didn't know anything about it. I didn't say
Was the
anything.
shower running?
No, but I'll tell you.
The shower was running. I would have ran right out
else
of the house.
The whole scene now in my memory is black and white. But I was very happy to get this because when I started, and I think this is important, I have tried to teach people that if you're going to collect something, and I've collected numerous things, not so much anymore, I'm kind of tired of it, and it takes a lot of time up, and I'm getting older. But if you're going to collect it, I understand people cannot pay a lot of money for things. So I would say try and stay within your budget, but you have to get the best possible combination that you can without driving yourself insane.
Yeah,
It's
so
hard,
the
it's
Stooges.
hard.
It's
So my first set that's on the PSA registry is the best possible combination that exists right now. All the cards are PSA 10, all the 96 basic cards, with the exception of card number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, and 96. Those 5 cards only exist in a 9. And I'm sure everybody on earth wants to sell me, get a 10 in that card, graded by PSA, and try and sell it.
It could be in here. It could be in
Could
here.
very well be.
And
Very, very well be.
you'll be in contact with Mr. Cohen because that's the cards he's looking for. That adds a little more to us digging up the cardboard treasure, and it is like a treasure hunt. But and the Stooges too, you can collect a set, all sevens, all eights. It's not that much, and it's fun.
Very reasonable for you. A set of 7s, you'll pay $30 a card, maybe less. Now a set of 8s, with the exception of 5 or 6 cards, relatively decent centering.
The centering, yeah.
You'll get about $50, maybe a little less. So it's within reason. Where the sticking points are the checklists, because there are very few of them. And
speaking of the checklist,
and I'm gonna get into that in a moment. There are very few of them, and they're very hard to get. I actually have 29 completed sets, not all on the registry, but it's sets 1 through 26 in the basic and 1 through 25 in the master set. And that's been 9 years, it's been 10 years worth of work.
10 years.
Doing that.
You have a lot of checklists.
So when...
Which makes it even harder to find checklists.
When I started, these cards didn't exist in 10. Many did not exist in 10. 9 was the tops, and maybe there were about 20, 25 10s. And then slowly, as I started buying them, people started submitting more and more. So I think when I started, total submissions of a card that were graded were maybe 3,000. And I think now there are, I know now there are 24,972 graded cards.
Oh my God.
From that series. And
you referred there, but the checklist you had to write in to get a checklist.
You have to write in to get a checklist.
And most of them are marked.
Right.
But you find one, any marked or unmarked,
correct,
they're valuable. But
now,
unmarked, which they're over there. You're going to see them.
There are a few things I need to tell you about the set because everybody's got their issue. One of the most interesting things, as we mentioned before, is the color variations. But you also need to know that set was printed on 3 different color papers. There's the white back paper, which is the most desirable, the cream back paper, which actually grades better than the white back paper. I don't know why. I don't think it's as nice. And then there's the gray back paper. And I brought examples of all these for you to see. So let's do that first, okay?
And the graybacks, I know a lot of people try. It's tough enough to complete the set and get gray, but some people just try to get the grays, and they weren't printed too well, right? So it's hard to get them high grade?
No, that's not true. I have a completed set of graybacks. It falls, I think, number, let's see, scroll down which one. That's it, in 20th position.
Horses
Those
collars.
cards are, no, 20, up right above it, that one.
Emil Civica, okay. all his Stooge sets on the registry are all named after Three Stooge episodes, which makes it great.
with the exception of, since they only had one episode that started with an E, and there's a reason why I have all my sets named that way. If you kind of read it,
Is it in your order of your favorites?
No, it's in
False alarms?
It's in the order of
The year they were
what
made?
no, it's in the order of these I've done. I did this all for my son Eric, my middle son. And if you read the first, going with set one, if you read it going from top to bottom, you'll see false alarms is 1, oily to bed, oily to rise is 2, 3 restless nights. If you read all the letters down, it says, for my son,
Oh my
Eric
God, how
Baron
about that?
Cohen.
For my son,
Eric
Eric.
Baron.
That is
Cohen.
unbelievable.
And there is, with
This is a first.
With 20 and 21, there's an issue because if you go through the master sets, it is in the correct order. Horse collars. Until I can get a better.
Oh, you need horse collars
to
in
go
the
up.
20th.
And the only way
it's
that I can do that is if I get a better checklist card.
The movie writers are Cohen, and they're Coen, but you're Cohen, so you need horse collars to move above.
And then then I have a younger son named Tyler, and I have 4 sets that are on the registry. I do not have the 20. Where did it go? Oh, the 27th set I do not have, but the 28th is mine. And if you go and you see that it. I will name them Tyler for my last.
Oh, I see. You're
my youngest son.
Now we have a question from Joe Cirillo. How come the creambacks aren't not on the PSA population report?
They are on the PSA population.
Oh, they
report.
are. Okay.
Now I have to say that PSA is a great company. They have a tremendous business, but sports are their primary issue. Sports the thing. Ultimately, they sort of got pushed into grading non-sports cards, and there are a number of great non-sports card sets, such as Horrors of War.
What is the most popular? Is it the Stooges, Horrors of War, or Civil War?
Well, they call them the Mount Rushmore of cards. So there are four non-sports cards. 3 of them I can remember.
Stooges, Horrors of War.
Horrors of War, Superman.
Civil War, I heard was the Civil War.
Civil War might be the
Civil. Yeah, I think the Civil War was very popular.
So that's the Mount Rushmore of sports cards.
Wow.
4 sets. All right, now let's get back to the cards. So now I'm going to show you card number 6. This is graded 8. Here is a white back card. Charlie's going to show you that. That's white, and you can see it's pure white, but look at the color on it. And turn it over. And you see it's just slightly lighter than the next card you're going to see.
It's really a nice white. It's hard to get with the glare.
It's not pure white.
Not pure white.
The front is pure white.
Like a bone white.
Yeah, but the front is a pure white.
Front is a pure white.
Now you have a cream back card, which I'm giving Charlie, of the same card, and you'll see the different, because the cream back, the colors are different. And this is a good example. It's an 8 also, but you see it's a little more dull. And if you turn it over, the backs, again, you can tell that it's slightly different.
So, in other words, the education part is if you see a card like this, it's not faded or browned or like a lot of the cards turn brown over time.
There is no foxing, but there is some toning issues. And it depends on where it was kept, the temperature was kept at, and whatnot, and how people kept them. But anyway, the important thing for you to see is the color. The
front, yeah.
And Richard Parks, what he did was, when he printed his set, he printed not just the 96 cards, he printed all the variations. So to have a complete set of his cards, you're looking at,
well, isn't card number 38 or 9? Crowley's wearing a red shirt and a green shirt.
Well,
so they mixed it. They did the one on purpose?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think anybody really knows the answer. Or I don't know the
answer. They like the different variations.
I should know, but I don't. And
but even here, you can see the sky's gray, and here it's orange.
It's more green.
Green and
it's more orange.
Orange, and the flooring's a little different.
Okay, now you're going to see some. Now you're going to see a gray back card. So here is card 24 and an 8 also. There's no color variation on that one.
The front's pretty much the
They're
same.
all the same. That's that has Mo. That actually card actually came from Mo's grandson.
This is so. There's a good chance that Mo actually touched this card.
They were Mo's cards.
They're Mo cards.
They were Mo's personal cards, and I purchased them from his grandson.
This card was owned by Mo. Mo had this card. He got it from his grandson. Actually, the sticker is on there. It says Mo. That's fantastic.
I think I bought 5 sets of cards. Most of them were gray back. Most were off-centered, but they were Mo's. So.
And didn't his grandson get in touch with you because he found all the cards?
Everybody knows me because I've known the family.
But you thought you were getting some pristine?
No.
Were they nice cards?
I already knew that it was going to be a mixed bag, and it wasn't overly priced. So.
But you were hoping you could buy a box of cards that were packed fresh.
No.
You didn't think they would have collected them?
No, I had already heard. People had already gone through it, and what I really wanted to do was to complete my grayback set. So I ultimately was able to do that. And the grayback set currently online, I only have one card is a PSA 4, card 91. Fortunately, I don't know who has the 6, but I'll try and find out. But
if you're watching,
better.
Send us an email. We'll put you in touch.
And then I have 17 is an off-centered card in a grayback, and then 64 is off-centered.
64, okay.
The most difficult cards to get and the ones with the most value in this set, I don't care what the grade is, are card numbers 1, 2, 3, the Curly, Mo, and Larry. And then you have
card number 5,
which is Mo, Larry, and Curly from the short name.
They went that away. I think we're all pointing in different directions. It was card number 5.
People don't know is that Shemp is not pictured in any of the 59 cards. Neither is Joe Dorita. It's all Curly. And that was done because when the Columbia Pictures Shorts Department closed in 1958, I believe, that was it. Mo and Larry felt, well, their careers, they didn't know what was going to happen. But then the shorts were released to television, and they got a whole brand new career, did a lot of personal appearances, and they were essentially resurrected at that point.
And Curly passed away, and
Curly had a stroke in 1946 when they were filming his last short called Half-Wit's Holiday. It was a very hot day. Mo's brother found him slumped in a chair, and he had a stroke.
Wow.
Then after that, he did pass away. I believe it was 1952.
So way before he never saw these cards. He never saw himself.
No, he never saw these cards. 1952, and he was in an additional 2 shorts. One never made it. Malice in the Palace. There's a lobby card with him in it holding a meat cleaver and a big mustache, or people believe it's him. We're not 100% certain, but powers that be say
a Curly
it
imposter.
is. Those far more educated than I say that's him. And then we definitely know he's going to hold that line with that Shemp short.
Wow.
But that's it. That's all we know about. Okay, now we're going to go back to the cards again and show you some really special things. Now, you know how difficult the checklists are, and they're very hard to come by.
Very rare, the checklist. We said we had to write in together.
Extraordinarily expensive. Fortunately, when I bought the one I'm going to show you next, the pricing hasn't gone through the roof yet. There are 2 of this card that exist. Its checklists were on card number 16, 63, and 64. So you have, there are only 2 10s in the checklist card 16, which I have both of them. So here we go. Charlie's going to show it to you, and the back as well, so you can see what the checklist back looks like.
Absolutely beautiful. Card number 16, Gem Mint 10, and there's the checklist on the back. And you can see why 10s are rare. The writing on the back was so small. Obviously, of course, it's unchecked, not a blemish on there. But I've seen some of these in the past, and most of them were checked off. A lot of kids would use this before computers or anything to make sure they got the whole set. But this card virtually looks like it came out of a pack, just like here at Just Rip It. It's beautiful. The centering, the colors, the corners, and the back especially. Only 2 in existence, and he's got both of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there will ever be any more because they're not in the wax packs. You had to write in, and
Right.
that's not around no more.
Correct.
Wow.
The next checklist is card number 63. Now, there is another, by the way, another 16, another 63, and another 64. The regular cards that have the exact same image on the front.
Same image on the front,
It's
but
just the back that's different.
the back of it.
So now you're going to see card 63 in a 9. No 10 exists.
No 10 exists, so this is the best you can get. And this almost looks like, I mean, I wonder what the flaw was. It's a classic shot with Curly's head in the ropes. It looks good. It looks good to me. I mean, look at the back. It's nice and clean.
What I started to say was that all of the images, with the exception of, I think, 4 or 5 cards, are from individual shorts that the Stooges made. There are cards such as number 52, 85, 90. They're with Joe Dorita, and those were staged. But the rest are from the shorts.
Interesting. Dwayne Sherman's got a Curly 1 from the 89 series, asking any value.
Not really.
No? Graded a 10?
Not really.
No?
It's not worth
Okay.
much at all.
We're giving these packs out with any purchase just to complete the set. I don't know, Dwayne, you can get it graded, but even if it's a 10, probably
Not very much, honestly.
50, 100?
Maybe 50.
Okay.
That's it. It's just...
So it's got some value.
I was the
There's something
first
there.
one to get it, and then slowly more appeared, not because of me, just because it just did. I kept sending them in, and I kept getting 10s. So. Anyway,
It's tough to get a 10.
Yes. And then the last checklist is card number 64, and I think it's the hardest one, although some people say it's 63 is, but I find 64 to be the hardest. This is a wonderful one, and it's unmarked, and again, the best grade possible.
And you won't fool anybody with that haircut. It's got Curly with the beard. Just a beautiful photo of the Three Stooges right there. Was that from an episode?
That's from an episode, yes.
Okay.
I not recall which one, but...
I remember you used to wear the beard once in a while. And there's the back, unchecked and beautiful. Again, in a 9. There's no 10s. These are the 3 checklists right here. 1 10, a 9, and a 9. And like you said, they're not even in this wax pack that we have on our site. You had to write in to get them, which makes them rare. To get them unchecked, even rarer. But to get them in this kind of condition is really...
The population is either 1 or 2.
It's single, yeah.
And chances are I have them.
And there could be a mint 10 out there in 63 and 64, but you won't find it in a wax pack. You'll have to find it.
It'll have to be graded.
Grandma's attic somewhere because, boy, beautiful, beautiful checklists. Beautiful.
Then we have, again, from the 59 series, we've got, these are the originals. I think you've seen at least one before, but here you've got the creamback Mo, and the whiteback. And you can see the color differences.
Yeah, Curly, Mo, and Larry were cards 1, 2, and 3. There's no 10s of the 3. And we got a pair of 9s.
Now, that population of Mo is 9 and a 9. There are 9 of them. I think I have 7 of them.
7 of the 9. So 2 are out there.
So 2 are out there, yes. Again, remember, this is constantly looking every day for 10 years, in the morning at 5 o'clock when your dog wakes you up and you have nothing else better to do.
Richard Parks, fun seeing the 3 toughest non-sports cards. The Stooges checklist all in one place. Yeah, all right here. They are the holy grail.
Now, again, Richard also did in his series. He published a checklist as well. So if you can't afford to really get a checklist, go and go to Richard's reissue series 59.
Just to have something like that.
So you'll have something that'll be very similar.
Was there any reason why they did a green background and like a cream background?
I don't know.
Was it a print defect?
No, I don't know. Well, it's a big.
But you got both anyway.
Yes, at least, yes, I do.
Wow.
Well, as I said, if you figure out the amount of cards I have, if there are 99 cards in a set and all my sets have checklists, of course the lower ones have marked checklists, and I think the lowest one is a marked 4. That's the lowest I've got.
Mm-hmm.
And a marked 4 is essentially really a 2. They take it down by 2 points in the grading system was marked.
Okay.
So actually, if you get an unmarked grade 3, that's like getting a marked number card value 5. So that's how that
Good
works.
insight into the whole grading
Okay.
system. Joe Cirillo is asking, do you have any SGC graded cards? I think we went over that.
XGC, okay.
Because you don't have the registry.
In the beginning, very beginning, I did purchase some SGC cards, but one learns very quickly. SGC is a wonderful company. I met the owner. I know some of his family. They're wonderful people. But unfortunately, everybody gravitates to PSA. Of course, there are other companies as well, such as Beckett, which are very good. But nobody has a registry like this. Not just my set, but
Their registry list
sets
gravitates to PSA because they have all your cards there all organized and whatnot.
Now, we've saved the best thing for last.
Oh, we didn't show the Larry 9.
Oh, there's Larry 9. Sorry, he's the Larry 9.
There's no 10s of Larry.
No 10s.
And there he is with those blue eyes that just stare right at
I
you.
have 5 of them.
There's only 5.
And I think I have 4 of them.
And you got 4 of the 5.
3 or 4.
3 or 4 of the, okay.
No, 4. I've got 4.
And there's no 10 in existence.
No 10.
I got to do it again. You just don't know. You just don't know. You don't. It makes the pack even, and the more suspense, the better. But this is a great picture of Larry with the hat and the hair and the brown tweed coat with the green tie, and a nice little story on the back. A native of Philadelphia.
Right, Larry's from Philadelphia.
First of his family in the show business, had a flair for comedy, and his early youth. Interesting. Very nice.
All right, okay, and I'll say the best thing for last.
The best for last.
Something that
Here it
very
comes.
few people have seen, and I have unearthed 3 of them. One I gave to my dear friend Tim, and I kept the other 2. And here it is. I'll let Charlie show you.
I couldn't believe when I actually saw
You've
this.
never seen one before.
I've never seen one. I've never even seen one anywhere. I didn't even know he even had this. This is a panel card. Card number 22, 37, and 54. A panel. All cards connected, authentic, graded, slabbed. And on the back is the back of card number 37. And it's just beautiful. It really is. It's just, is there a value for something like this, or it just doesn't? Is it just priceless because they don't exist?
You really can't find them. I think there are 4 or 5 out there that I know of, but compared to other things, let's just say like a checklist in a 9 would be far less expensive than
Richard knows the triple panel.
Yes.
Does Richard make that? Richard, do you make the triple panels as well?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Richard did that. We showed them earlier.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. The 3 guys together. Wow.
But there are very few of those. 3 I know of. I tried to get a hold of one, which I finally bought last year from a friend, and then I bought 2 earlier from the family, from the host family. So that's about as good as it gets when it comes to cards.
It's a great set. It's a beautiful set. He's got most of the cards. He spent a lot of time and energy, and it's like you said, it's tiring. It could be time consuming. It's costly, but they're a great set. They're a great set from 59, 66. We went up to the 80s, into the 90s, and right up to what Richard Parks is doing now. The show's still very popular. We have the first and probably the last. We'll be shocked, right, if we see any more PSA rated packs out there. And I'm the ripper, and I like the rip. And I'm just going to tell you right now, one of these days, it's going to break everybody's heart when this little Raven comes out, and we crack this open and unveil the 6 cards in there. It will be a pretty much epic night. There may be a GAI out there floating around. I don't know.
There is...
we don't know.
I sent a GAI pack in many years ago, PSA. Unfortunately, it was a GAI 9 pack, and unfortunately, their system requires that they have only one man, who I believe lives in Indiana. So I have to ship them to California, to Southern California. They ship it to Indiana. The person grades it, ships it back to them, and they ship it back to you. We're looking at like a 4-month process By now it's probably 5 months.
It's about 100 business
And
days.
so I sent my pack in, perfect GI9, and unfortunately when I got it back, there were gum pieces all over the inside of the pack. So I was more than a little upset.
Another pack bites the dust.
So I opened the pack up, put the cards out, and submitted some, and some were off-centered, so I didn't do that. But either way, so then, so you know how rare that these packs are. There are no graded 9 PSA packs. They don't exist. There are no 10s. There are, I believe, 8 graded packs, PSA 8s, which I own all of them. There are, I think, 6
7s.
6 7s. This is one of the 7s. Another friend of mine owns the only 7 that exists that I don't own, besides this one. And he also owns the 6. And then the only one I don't know about is who owns the 5. I have no idea. So that is how rare.
If you're out there and you got the PSA 5, shoot us an email. Just let us know who you are. Little bio. We'll give you a little shout out on the show. We are any purchase tonight. We are giving out an 85 or 89 Three Stooges pack. It is Three Stooge night. I'm sitting here with Richard Cohen, the Stooge guru of cards, the Stooge king of cards. And he's modest. He knows a lot about the families and what they're about. And it's just really good trivia to hear that the lives and stories of these 3 guys that were out there. Any other stories?
Yeah, oh yes, plenty of stories.
What's one of your
Basically,
favorite?
The funniest one I told you was about my wife. And, well, you know, it was for the children, and we went. And then there was a major issue between the Stooges families, which is not worth getting into.
A Stooge feud?
There was a feud between the heirs, Mo's heirs.
Did Curly have any children?
And yes, Curly
did?
had. Yes, Curly did have 2 daughters. One from one wife, of his first wife, and one from his last wife. And his one of them I know much better than the other. I know the younger one much better, but the older one is a lovely lady. And her sons are the servers. They're wonderful people.
You met all these people.
Yes.
You said you didn't know any of the family.
Well, no,
you met them all.
No, I know all of the family. I know Larry. I knew Larry's sister because she was 20 years younger than him. Because Larry had a brother named Philip that died in the influenza epidemic in 1917.
Wow.
And so Larry's younger sister was named Lila, and she was 20 years younger than her brother. And Larry, of course, had an older brother, Mo Feinberg, and I don't think there was another one, but I could be wrong.
And you obviously never had a chance to meet any of the
And
3. Do you wish you could have really sat down to dinner with them?
Well,
Would that have been like a historic moment?
I only once had a dream that I was planting flowers in a garden with Mo. It's the strangest thing. But I came about it again more from the personal aspect because my sons liked it. I wanted to be familiar with it. So Mo's daughter Joan wrote a book, Curly, illustrations by Mo's son Paul, who's a wonderful fellow, as well as Mo's daughter Joan. And I read that book, and that same year I went to the convention. And in '88, I met them, and I saw them every year since then. And now, of course, we're both quite elderly, but they're still wonderful people. And Larry's family, I know his.
They're all out in California?
They're all, well, remember they came from Philadelphia. They are pretty much all out in California, but I know, obviously, Larry unfortunately had a son that I believe died, and that I know died in a car accident. I think it was 1961, but he already had 3 children, so there are grandchildren that I know as well. Some very, very, very fine and nice people, and I may even met some great grandchildren. So that was the best event in 2016, the convention that we had.
Oh, the convention, okay.
Yes.
My daughter says, great show, Tiffany. She grew up with us watching the Three Stooges. She was not really forced to watch them. She actually liked them.
Shemp, let me tell you what happened to Shemp. Okay, well, Shemp, Shemp, one could argue that Shemp has his own following. And Shemp pursued a solo career when he pursued a solo career making shorts separately. He was in a number of films, full-length films, and then when Curly passed away, he rejoined the group in 1947, I believe it was. In Hold That Line, I believe was the first short. Then I think came Fright Night, but I could be wrong. As I said, there are people that dedicate their lives to studying this. They're very interesting people. I've known them for a long time, and they are real aficionados. But this I really did for my sons. And of course, they outgrew them and have absolutely no interest. And somehow, my oldest friends are the people that I met at the conventions over the years. Oldest chronologically, and I've known them the longest. And one of them I speak to every night, nice fellow, and we always talk about the Stooge items.
If anybody has any other questions, feel free to chime in. But Richard,
so anyway, the Shemp made a number of films, some with Abbott and Costello, one called Africa Screams, very funny film. So he had a separate career. But then Shemp unfortunately died of a massive, I think, a stroke or coronary, I'm not quite sure, in 1955, out of the blue. He was in a car sitting in the middle, I think, of the seat, and he slumped over and he was just dead instantly. And that left Columbia short, the shorts department short. So they needed to find someone, and they just rehashed a lot of the old.
And Joe Besser came.
Then came Joe Besser.
And they started making a couple of movies.
No, Joe Besser didn't make any films with them.
Joe DeRita made the Have Rocket Will Travel.
Rocket Will Travel, Around the World in Days, I think it was.
Yeah.
Out West, which was the last film made in 1966. Three Stooges in Orbit, a whole bunch of them. And I never saw them as a child, as I said, but my brother did and my cousin did. And I remember my brother telling me that all he could remember leaving there was my aunt saying, "Never again, never again."
The women hate him. And their first short was the Woman Haters Club, and they hated the women in that one also. That wouldn't go over too well in the Me Too movement, the Woman Haters Club.
Woman Haters, though, it was a musical comedy. And the sad part about that one is the lead, Marjorie White, was a Hollywood starlet, and she died in a car accident, a very tragic car accident, I think a year or two after that short was made. Her name was Marjorie White, and I have a number of autographs. They're so rare that PSA cannot authenticate them.
Because they're so rare? Or
few of them.
Wow.
There's so few of them. There are a number. And then they also had a number of players that were in many of their shorts. There was a fellow named Bud Jameson, who was in many shorts. Vernon Dent. Vernon Dent's wife actually only passed away about a year or two ago at the age of 105. Vernon, unfortunately, passed away much sooner as he was a diabetic, went blind, and very sad.
A lot of tragedy with the Stooges.
The Stooge Heavies, they're called, the Stooge Heavies.
Yeah.
And then there were many. For instance, I think the first screen credit for Lloyd Bridges was in a Three Stooges short.
I remember Lucille Ball was in one.
Ball
Lucille Ball's career started. You'll see her.
Started in
Lucy.
In
Early one. She was one of the girls.
Shorts, one of the early shorts. And when she had a great admiration for the Marx Brothers and others, but honestly, she did not really care for the Three Stooges. And when asked what she learned from the Three Stooges, she said, "All I learned from the Three Stooges was to duck." So
from the pies?
From the pies.
Who threw that pie?
Who threw that pie?
That's funny.
All right. Well, that about does it.
That does it. I want to thank Richard Cohen for stopping by our studio, bringing these beautiful cards that you may see in magazines, on registry lists, but they're here live. Again, it's the Twilight Collection, the only curly 9 out there. There's no 10s. We are looking. So if you're out there and you're sitting on any packs such as this one, and you come across one, or you go into your grandpa's attic out in Wisconsin somewhere and you see them in a shoebox, drop us a line at Just Rip It so we can get in touch with Richard, and he can help you out with the set there. It's an honor to have him here. It's an honor to have actually touched these cards physically and to see checklists so rare. And I wish everyone could see them one day and actually hold them. Maybe one day you'll have a museum or a little exhibit, or at the convention if you can bring them. It's truly phenomenal. The rest of the night, any purchase, we'll give you a free pack here from 1985 and 89. And nice plastic, not wax, not cello. Just a great opportunity. And again, we listed this 59 Fleer Three Stooges wax pack, the only one we know that's out there. 6 cards in there. Take a shot. It's worth it. The card is going to have some type of value there. And it's just a historic pack, and we're so proud to have it on our website. And I think that's it. I think again, thank you, Richard,
thank you very
for coming
much.
by.
I hope you've learned a great deal.
Any questions down the road, we'll forward to Richard at support@justripit.com, and hopefully we educated you, entertained you, right down the line. And join us tomorrow night, because we're going to go right from the Stooges into this 57 equity pack, and hopefully the next best thing about a curly 9 would be a Mickey Mantle in here, and that's what we try to do, is dig up the cardboard treasure. We'll be opening up this tomorrow night and a couple other packs, so join us then. And Richard, thank you again.
You very much, Charlie. Thank you.
And that'll do it for Just Rip It tonight. We've dedicated this night, and we'll see everybody tomorrow on our Thursday happy hour, where we will have a great time, a lot of giveaways, a lot of promotions, and we'll talk Stooges again. Thank you, everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow.